Hello students, now we are starting new chapter, rotational motion of rigid bodies. First let us understand rotational motion of rigid bodies. Let us understand rigid bodies first. Suppose you are having a body, you apply some force on the body. If displacement of particles of the point where force has been applied is not taking place with respect to other particles of the body, then the body is said to be rigid body. All the solids are considered as rigid body. First let us understand physical significance of moment of inertia. We are going to discuss topic of moment of inertia. Moment of inertia is inertia of rotational motion. As you require force to initiate or to stop linear motion, similarly you require torque to initiate or to stop or retardate rotational motion. Force is required in case of linear motion because body opposes any change in state, and that property of body is called inertia. And in case of linear motion, inertia is measured by mass. More the mass, more the inertia. Similarly, a body opposes any change in rotational motion. So body is at rest, you want to bring the body into rotational motion, or body in rotational motion already, you want to retardate it or to stop it, you require torque. And that opposition in rotational motion is described by a quantity called moment of inertia. So moment of inertia is inertia in rotational motion. Mathematically, how to define moment of inertia, let us understand. Suppose it is a body, rigid body, to be revolved about this axis, or take this condition, your axis is passing inside the body. A rigid body or any body is supposed to be divided or supposed to be made of large number of particles. Masses of these particles are m1, m2, m3, etc. Similarly here. This is axis of rotation. Distance of this particle from axis of rotation r1, r2, r3 and so on. Similarly in that figure. So moment of inertia is defined as sum of product of mass and square of the distance of the particle from axis of rotation. So for first particle, mass and distance, it is multiplied m1 r1 square. Same thing we have to do for all the particles, and all the values are added. Then the quantity we get is called moment of inertia. In general, you can write moment of inertia like this. In terms of integration, you can write moment of inertia like this. Suppose a rigid body, it is divided into elementary particles, each particle of mass dm, and their distances from axis of rotation r, r1, r2, r3 and so on. So moment of inertia will be dm r1 square plus dm r2 square plus dm r3 square and so on, or sigma dm r square. And in calculus, sigma has significance of integration. So if you want to write equation for moment of inertia in terms of calculus, it will be written like this. This is symbol of integration. Now let us understand radius of gyration. I have just told that to find moment of inertia, the body must be divided into large number of particles, and for each particle you have to find mr square and then add it. But practically it is quite difficult So a distance has been defined called radius of gyration. Suppose it is a body and this is axis of rotation, and you want to know moment of inertia of this body about this axis. Then we have to imagine a point where whole mass of the body is supposed to be concentrated such that distance of the point from the axis of rotation is taken, and square of the distance multiplied with the whole mass of the body gives moment of inertia as moment of inertia given by this method. I repeat once again. Suppose imagine this body is divided into large number of particles, and for each particle you are finding mr square and added. Obviously you will get certain value. Now take some distance between axis of rotation and a point located on this body such that square of the distance is multiplied with the mass of the body, and you get same value as you have got by this method. Then that distance between the axis and from the point is called radius of gyration. So radius of gyration is k. So moment of inertia is equal to mk square, and by this equation you get k is equal to under root I by m. I have just explained moment of inertia. You have seen moment of inertia depends on mass distribution of body around axis of rotation. Very simple to understand. If position of axis changes, accordingly moment of inertia of body will change. That is why two theorems have been given to find moment of inertia of a body if axis changes. If axis change. First theorem is theorem of parallel axis. This is axis CG passing from center of gravity of the body, and moment of inertia about this axis is IG. Means if body is revolved or rotated about this axis, you get moment of inertia IG. But you are interested in finding moment of inertia about axis XY, which is parallel to this axis at distance A. According to fundamentals, the body is divided into large number of particles, and for each particle you have to find mass into distance square and then add it. One such particle is m at distance r from this axis, and this separation is a. So distance of particle from this axis will be r plus a. So moment of inertia of this particle only about this axis will be m a plus r square. Then to find moment of inertia of whole body, you have to add all such quantities, so it becomes sigma m a plus r square. Now apply formula of a plus b whole square. You can write like this: sigma mr becomes 0 because it is moment of all the particles of body about center of gravity. You know that a body is always in equilibrium about center of gravity. So moment of all the particles, all the masses, you can say, about center of gravity is always 0. Therefore sigma mr is 0. Sigma mr square is moment of inertia about axis passing from CG. So this value can be written as IG. Sigma m is sum of masses of all the particles, so this value become total mass, that is capital M. So we can write I is equal to Ig plus Ma square, and this is called theorem of parallel axis. If moment of inertia about axis passing from CG is known, and you want to know moment of inertia about another axis parallel to axis passing from CG, can be calculated with the help of this formula. Second theorem is theorem of perpendicular axis. Suppose this is a rigid body. Inside the rigid body, we can assume three axes: x-axis, y-axis, and this is z-axis. The body can be rotated about any one of the axes. This is xy plane. In this plane, one particle is taken. Mass of the particle is m. Coordinate of the point of particle is xy, and distance from z-axis is r. See the diagram. It is three-dimensional diagram. So it is difficult to understand on this board, but you can understand like this easily. It is right angle triangle. From this right angle triangle we can write r square is equal to x square plus y square. Now this particle m, is set into rotation about z-axis. So obviously it will be revolving in radius r. So moment of inertia of this particle, only particle, about z-axis is mr square. Then to find moment of inertia of whole body, you have to take sigma mr square. This is moment of inertia of body about z-axis, Iz. Mi, I am writing abbreviation of moment of inertia. Now value of r square is taken from equation 1. Simplify and write like this. Now see the diagram again. If particle revolves around x-axis, particle revolves about x-axis, it will be revolving in radius y. So my square is moment of inertia about x-axis. Similarly, if particle revolves around y-axis, it will revolve in radius x. So sigma mx square is moment of inertia of body about y-axis. So Iz is equal to Ix plus Iy. Moment of inertia about z-axis is equal to moment of inertia about x-axis plus moment of inertia about y-axis. Since three axes are perpendicular, that is why this theorem is called theorem of perpendicular axis. Students, I suppose you are understanding and you have started your preparation of first term examination. I wish best of luck. Keep studying. Be healthy and safe. Thank you. Students, now I elaborate theorem of parallel axis and theorem of perpendicular axis by taking one simple example. It is a square system of side A, small a. 4 particles, each of mass m, are placed on each corner. Axis AB is passing from CG. So moment of inertia taken about this axis is called Ig. First let us find moment of inertia about this axis. Since side of square is A, so this distance will be A by 2, A by 2, A by 2 and A by 2. 4 particles. So use the formula mr square plus mr square plus mr square and so on. So moment of inertia about this axis will be this much. By making calculation, we get the result Ig is equal to ma square. This is moment of inertia of this system about axis passing from CG, that is Ig. Now if you want to find moment of inertia about axis CD, see this axis is parallel to this axis. This moment of inertia is known, and you want to know moment of inertia about this axis. As this axis is parallel to this axis, so we can apply theorem of parallel axis. Theorem of parallel axis says I is equal to Ig plus m a by 2 square. Here this distance is separation between these two axes. You have just seen in the explanation. Ig is already known. M is total mass. M plus m plus m plus m, it becomes 4m. And this separation is a by 2. So by putting all the values, you find moment of inertia about this axis as 2ma square. Now you want to know moment of inertia about this axis. Think three-dimensionally. This is z-axis, this one. This axis we are taking as axis EF. Moment of inertia about this axis is known. In second part of the question, you may consider as x-axis and this as y-axis. So this moment of inertia is known ma square. Since the body is symmetrical, so moment of inertia about y-axis will also be same as ma square. So Ix and Iy are known, and you want to know moment of inertia about z-axis, this axis. So use theorem of perpendicular axis. Iz is equal to Ix plus Iy. Both Ix and Iy are ma square. So moment of inertia about z-axis is 2ma square. Students, don't get confused. We are getting same answer in both the parts, but it is not necessary in all the questions that moment of inertia calculated by theorem of parallel axis and theorem of perpendicular axis are same. In this particular question, because of nature of question, we are getting both the values same. In all the questions, you will not get same. I suppose you could understand. Thank you, students. Best of luck.